5 mistakes people make when visiting Walt Disney World.
And we pretty much made all of these.
We've done it all, and we're going to talk about it today so you don't have to.
And it changes. Disney World, like everything else, changes almost on a monthly basis. So these are some things that we've recently took a trip. These are mistakes that we made, we've seen other people make, and hopefully we can help you not make them on your next Disney trip.
All right, number 1, not having a plan. Somewhat of a plan, right?
Yeah, I don't think you need such a rigid plan where you are scheduled to the minute, but you definitely need an outline. Maybe we should call it an outline, not a plan.
Let's call it an outline. I like that.
Actually, like have an outline of what you want to do for the day, and maybe there's 5 or 6 things you really want to do, and that's, if you get to accomplish those things, your day was a success, and anything on top of that was a bonus.
Definitely.
But like Connie said, or we say on the podcast, don't be so regimented with what you're doing next and making sure you're on time that you don't enjoy what you're doing in the moment.
Just be in the present moment. Yeah. But have an outline.
Exactly. Have an outline of what you want to accomplish in the day. And this is really hard for somebody like me who is always kind of thinking of the next thing. So having a plan or an outline for somebody like me is difficult.
It helps avoid the zigzagging. Walt Disney World is huge. The parks are huge. And it's tough when you don't have a plan because then you look and see things that you want to experience, not realizing maybe how far apart they are. So you do a lot of walking, which makes you tired, which may make kids cranky that are with you, kids or adults.
True. Yeah, I put myself in that kid category. So that
all the time.
This leads us into number 2, which is making your kids go from rope drop to closing without a plan.
Now, rope drop means getting to the park right when it's opening, right when the attractions might not even be open in the particular spot that you're going to, but the park itself is open.
Which is a great strategy, especially for young kids. They are excited. They want to go early, but you got to have expectations for them. Low. Keep them low. You want to say, all right, we're going to rope drop. It's a great strategy to get some attractions out of the way that maybe you won't have a time to go on later, but don't expect them without a break in the middle sometime to make it till close. Listen, they're excited. Their adrenaline's going. They're kids, though. They need to have that 8 to 10 hours of sleep in order to be functioning human beings. And by kids, I mean me.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually heard some friends say that their kids were up at 5 a.m., ready to go, so excited. And of course, you want to get the day going and you want to see everything as you can, maybe even an empty area in a certain park. I know I love an empty Tomorrowland. But exactly what Bruce said, you can't expect the kids to, or adults, to do that all day, all night if they're not used to it. So I kind of say, what's their schedule like at home? Are they morning birds? Are they early birds? Do they like to stay up late? How that experience goes for you is how they're going to handle the park. And don't forget, there is that element of excitement happening. You're away from home. You're probably not eating the foods that you normally eat, so your system's kind of funky. So the kids are feeling that too. So just be mindful.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take a break in the middle of the day and go back to your room or hotel or wherever you're staying. You could take a break in the park. Just get a snack, sit down for 20 or 30 minutes. And I know people don't like to give their kids their phone, but maybe give them their phone and let them sit down and just kind of decompress for a minute.
All right, number 3, not mobile ordering or, this happened to us recently, eating during peak times.
Not mobile ordering is something we still do to this day. Not because we don't know how to mobile order. I just forget that it's an option.
It's until you get the hangries, right?
I think it's becoming more of an option in our everyday life with everything mobile ordering, that it's more familiar for us at Disney than it was, say, 2 years ago when it first came out.
Yeah, I agree. And it also, it's something that is relatively new, and it's something that if you maybe don't have an outline for your day, you kind of forget about that it exists. But also, not only just mobile ordering is what we sometimes forget to do, but we also don't realize, like, maybe we shouldn't eat during peak time, whether it be lunch or dinner times, because that's when all the restaurants are so packed and busy. Not only are you going to have a hard time just getting your food, but it's also a hard time kind of sitting and relaxing.
Yeah, it's very hard, too, because your body's in such a routine, for the most part, at home, that you eat at the same time. Like, most of us eat at the same time every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It just, our bodies get hungry at that time. What you could possibly do is, and this sometimes works for me at home, if it's lunchtime and I can't eat, maybe just have a banana or something snack to hold you over that extra hour just to get that lunch rush out of the way at Disney. So you're not starving and hangry, which I tend to be most of the time. And then you can eat at 1 or 2 versus 11 or 12 when everybody else in the park is eating lunch too.
It's okay to snap into a Slim Jim.
That's true. But you know what? Mobile ordering helps if you can't make it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't make it you're in Magic Kingdom and Cosmic Rays is packed. Like if you mobile order, it's so much more better of an experience to mobile order and go pick up your food than waiting in that line with everybody else.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You may still have a hard time getting a seat, but at least you don't have to wait in line for 20 minutes before you can't get a seat.
And and back to snacking and just kind of getting those hangries kind of out of the way so you can maybe extend the time where you're eating. The one great thing about Walt Disney World is you can eat in almost every line queue. I mean, they don't discourage.
I mean, you can eat in every line queue and attraction if you do it right.
No. Okay. Let's not go there. But that's what I love about it. There's tons of trash barrels. There's cast members that allow you to even take your drink until you're about to board a ride. There's more trash barrels. They'll tell you whether or not you can. And it's just great because some of those lines are also really
Depends on what kind of eater you are.
Oh, I gotcha.
If you're a loud eater, don't do that in line. That's gross.
Not. You don't want me to snap into my Slim Jim?
Not right in my ear when you're trying to fill all the available space. Please don't do that.
Yeah, maybe not then. Totally.
Eat soft things.
Okay. All right. Number 4, visiting Walt Disney World during the busiest times of the year. So that's a good one because there's holidays, which make it so busy.
I mean, we talked about this before we recorded this video, and you said to me, is there really not busy times of the year? And I don't think there is anymore. I think every time is busy, but there are certain times that it feels busier. In the summertime, I understand there's a lot of teachers and people who have jobs that they can only go, or maybe the students can only go in the summer, and it's hot and humid, and even though it's not as busy or it's busier, it feels busier because of the humidity.
The heat and the humidity just kind of swells your body, and it makes you feel like it's just so crowded. But I agree. I think that if you can visit during maybe someday you can try to work it out where you visit on a non-traditionally busy time, which could be, like I said, holidays, so especially Christmas, that week before, right during Christmas is beautiful place, I'm sure, to be at the parks, but it is so crazy and crowded. And then you get into the holidays with school holidays and breaks. You kind of want to try to avoid that if possible, but it is getting difficult more and more.
Listen, it's your choice. If you don't want to visit during those times, don't visit during those times, especially for your first visit. I think your first visiting during Christmas or Thanksgiving or school vacations is going to make you kind of not want to go ever again. You should experience it maybe during a slower period. And then once you get understanding of how it works, then you can navigate the busyness.
Okay, number 5, which is our last one. Already?
Yes, last one already. Staying on property, but not staying on property. So what do we mean by this is you stay at a hotel. Maybe you stay at the Polynesian or the Art of Animation, and you're staying there for a week, and you have 7 days of parks, and you don't ever utilize what you actually get by staying on property on the property itself.
I even think the value resorts, so like Pop Century, all these awesome resorts that you're paying all this money to be there, but you're never really there, is definitely a mistake I think people make.
Yes, Disney's resorts are getting a lot more expensive than they used to be, and the perks cost a little bit more money than they used to as well. So if you do plan on going to the parks every day of your trip, maybe staying on property is not something you need to do.
Or maybe you just carve that time. So maybe if I am going to visit a park, I'm not going to do open to close every day.
Or if you do open to close, the next day is a resort day.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure your kids will thank you. They may not thank you in the moment because they'll want to go to the parks, but they will in the afternoon after they hung out by the pool all day.
Some of the best trips I think people have made were when they did fewer park days and more resort days. Hang by the pool, book restaurant reservations, see what your resort has to offer. I know that actually enhances the stay and the experience. And that's when people want to go back.
I'm going to add a bonus one in here if I can. It kind of piggybacks off of this one.
Keep talking.
Don't expect that this will be your only trip. If you listen to us and avoid these mistakes, you'll have a pleasant experience and you're definitely going to want to go back again. If you don't, and you try to cram everything in and don't listen to us for these mistakes, your experience probably won't be great and you won't want to go back. But sometimes you need to sacrifice a park or a park day to get a little bit of relaxation in your trip, and it's going to make you want to go back. So don't expect that it's going to be your only trip to Disney World.
Well, even if it financially, you know that it is, in some ways you kind of have to trick your mind into believing that it isn't, because that's the mindset that makes you kind of, when you're thinking it's your last trip and you're trying to cram everything in, that's when it becomes a miserable time.
Yeah, you get too stressed out and you think about the money instead of the why you're actually at Disney World is to make memories with your family that are pleasant to look back on.
Yeah.
Not you look back on and you think to yourself, wow, that was a big mistake. You don't want that to happen.
Wish I could get that week back.
That's right. Well, that's it. 5 mistakes. Let us know if you've made a huge mistake that you could help somebody else out in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up because it helps the algorithm, so they told me. And I think that's it for us today. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everybody.